Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Play On podcast. In this part, myself and Luke are going to have an in-depth look and preview the Connaught Football Championship for 2021. It's a very interesting championship. A lot of teams kind of at similar levels. Roscommon, Galway and Mayo, in my mind, are still the three standout contenders for this crown. I think that, they're in contrast in form. Galway and Roscommon, of course, relegated from Division 1. Mayo promoted from Division 2 as, in my mind, the standout best team in the division. How do you see the championship this year?
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to how it's kind of been the last couple of years, where there is that kind of the tier one and tier two, and yeah, Mayo, Galway, Roscommon are that tier one, the three teams that could be seen as contenders every single year, and then there's the Leitrim's and the Sligos that just have kind of traditionally struggled in recent years. So yeah, I think based off form, kind of, it's funny. The Division Two team has certainly been the form team and the team that looks to be the red hot favourites going into it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The quarterfinal, the first round of the Connacht Championship, of course, no London and no New York in the championship this year. The first game is Sligo against Mayo. It's in Markovich Park in Sligo, but I think, Sligo finishing, another season next year. They're going to be playing in Division 4. They have a good manager in Tony McEntee, but I think it's just this is way above them. The fact that they lost to Wexford in the Shield, in Division 4, I think how can they expect to compete with a team like Mayo who were in the All Ireland final last year?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think you sums up pretty well there. I don't think they can go in with any real expectations like against a Mayo team that will definitely be without Killian O'Connor and probably be without Diarmuid O'Connor as well. So I think that one's pretty straightforward. I think Mayo, it's a nice start for Mayo to ease themselves into the Connaught Championships. Yeah, and they will come through that one.
Yeah. So that result will lead us into semi-finals of Roscommon and Galway in one semi-final in Dr. Hyde Park and Leitrim against Mayo in the other semi-final. I do find both of these games interesting in different ways. Leitrim did okay against Mayo in the championship last year, and against the Mayo side that was full strength, did have Killian O'Connor playing. I still would have Mayo down firmly to beat Leitrim. I think you would agree with that yourself. But
Yeah, yeah, I
Roscommon
think
and
there's no.
Galway is definitely the one that is the most interesting, I think, in the championship up to this point. That Roscommon and Galway, traditionally they've kind of gone back and forth with the wins. Roscommon has some famous kind of final wins over the last few years, usually against Galway. They had the famous win under Kevin McStay against Kevin Walsh's Galway. And then, of course, Anthony Cunningham with Roscommon in charge, they beat Mayo and Galway to win the Connaught Championship. So Roscommon do have, a few tricks up their sleeve in this championship. How do you see them this year going in against a Galway side that they did lose to in the league?
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to think similarly to before that league game. I really thought that despite Galway being absolutely hammered by Kerry the week before and Roscommon kind of putting it up to Dublin a little bit, I still back Galway. And I just think that Galway at the moment have something over Roscommon. And yeah, I would fully expect that trend to continue in Championship as well. Yeah, I would go with Galway to have maybe 4 or 5 points more to spare against Roscommon, just with the way they are at the moment. I think that Shane Walsh will help them over the line. Obviously, he'll just do what he does best, and they will come out on top.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with about up to a 5 point win for Galway, but no more. I don't think it will be a battering. I think Roscommon will hang in the game as they do really well in the Connaught Championship. So that's my result there, which would lead us then with a Connacht final of the old rivals Galway against Mayo, and another chapter in this story between the two, rivals. They'll be rivals to the end of time, really. Such local neighbours, and such proud football histories. But this year, of course, they're on different form. Of course, Galway getting relegated, Mayo getting promoted. And, Mayo have been the king now of Connacht. They won it last year. They won it last year by, a point, Shane Walsh's sideline. Galway kind of came back towards the end. I'm just interested to see now because Galway, they seem to be a bit of an unknown quantity, back at the league, in 2020 before the pandemic hit. Galway were the form team. everybody wanted to watch a Galway match. The feel-good factor around Galway seems to have gone away a little bit. Whereas Mayo now have become a bit of a form team to watch, their youth, their, attacking football. They're really interested in this matchup now because they both seem to be at, potentially vulnerable places. Of course, Mayo now with the O'Connor brothers being injury doubts, and Aidan O'Shea has only just come back into the team, so we don't know how fit he is. I do think, this game is very hard to call.
Yeah, I think this is the first game in Connaught where we are seriously discussing the impact of no Cillian O'Connor in this team and whether that will be, how costly that will be. Because if you look at full strength 215s, I think Mayo expect to win this game. But like we factor in then missing the free taker and Diarmuid O'Connor, that looked like a nasty enough injury before that as well. So it's his fitness will be key as well. So there's kind of a few unknowns again in this situation, really. So I don't know. I think without Cillian O'Connor, a lot of people might be starting to lean towards Galway in for this game in a really tight game. But yeah, I think it's a real 50-50. Maybe I might just lean towards Mayo though.
Yeah, I find it very hard to call. I think I will lean towards Mayo, the same as yourself. But my point that, would worry Mayo fans is that, personally I'd pick Galway to beat Clare. And in the second half when Cillian O'Connor was gone, Clare just took over the game in that, and they came back, the Darren O'Neill, of course. And, there's a window into how Clare can have an impact. There's a window into Galway, how Galway can have an impact against Mayo, with that high ball in, having seen how Darren O'Neill caused havoc against Mayo in that full back line. If Damien Comer is back fit or they have other big lads like Paul Kelly and Matthew Tierney, they can kick high balls in there. And, I know they're not as big as Darren O'Neill, but they can cause issues in that full back line because Mayo looked so vulnerable to it against Clare.
Yep, I think that's a very fair point. And that is probably the big question. Like, I know Mayo came on leaps and bounds last year, got to their All-Ireland final, and like they kind of looked at, they were a team that was definitely building towards something. So that's just a question. I think the real question is just how much of an impact will Cillian O'Connor be gone and Diarmuid O'Connor if he doesn't make it back in time. So they're the real issues. But I just think talent-wise, I still think that Mayo will probably have enough, even without O'Connor on the pitch, to just about kind of edge the Connacht this year.
Yeah, but the one doubt that I have is, did Mayo come on leaps and bounds last year? Because I know they made their All-Ireland final, but look at the teams that they beat. They beat a Galway team that hadn't won a game post the pandemic, had no preparation going in because they lost their game against Sligo. And then, they beat Leitrim in the game before that, a Division 4 team. And then they played Tipperary, the most unlikely of Munster champions, a Division 3 team, with all due respect, in the All-Ireland semi-final. And then they played okay against Dublin, but they lost.
Yep, I do think it's a fair point. I just was looking from the perspective of the fellas that have come through. You look at Ryan O'Donoghue and you look at Owen McLaughlin kind of in that have emerged into the team that looks serious prospects kind of. And Oisin Mullen, another year of development for him as well. He's become a mainstay of that team. And just some of the young players that have developed through, I really think that this was kind of Mayo needed to blood after kind of all these players that have been the old reliables that have been putting up to Dublin every year. They were kind of getting on a bit now and they needed that year of transition. And I thought that year of transition couldn't really gone any better other than obviously winning that final. I don't think at the start of the year there was an expectation after being relegated to Division 2 that they could compete as much as they did and get to an All-Ireland final. I think they would have been delighted with a Connacht even last year. So yeah, I think like a lot of people were kind of eyeing up Galway after their kind of exciting league kind of at the start anyway, Port Joyce. And yeah, I do think that Mayo will be delighted with how last year went, and I'd be pretty optimistic for the another year of development for these lads, and that they've had a very successful Division 2 campaign, unbeaten. So yeah, I would still be confident enough that they should have enough talent there to still have enough to edge out Galway.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Mayo to win the Connaught Championship as well. I agree with you. So that is our preview of the Connaught Football Championship for 2021, guys, here on the Play On podcast. Luke, it's been a pleasure. We'll come back with a preview of the All Ireland Championship and who we think is going to win the whole championship for 2021.